Good afternoon, everyone. This is Coach Ballantyne at Marion Military Institute. I want to take a few moments of your time to discuss a few updates and just sort of where we are as a cross-country program here at MMI. As we move through this kind of uncharted waters, unprecedented time of kind of a pandemic deal here, and being in quarantine and working from home, and our student athletes and cadets here on campus having moved to strictly online learning. I just sort of wanted to talk about what I'm doing, where we are, hopefully where we're going, and then sort of give some recognitions. And I want to start by giving some recognitions to some athletes on our team at this time. In the last month, we've received our All Academic Scholar Awards from the fall for cross country. The criteria for that is a minimum of 5 athletes make up a team. They have to have a 3.2 GPA or higher to fall in the team award category. And then if it's a 3.4 GPA or higher, they qualify for a scholar All-American as an individual. So academic All-American. So I want to take a moment and acknowledge those individuals now, and hopefully we'll get some additional recognition out to them later on. I'd hope to do this in a ceremony here on campus, but things came up, and obviously we're in kind of a weird, unusual situation at this point, and we weren't able to do that. So I want to take time to do that now. We did not have enough women to make up the team for a women's award. However, Avery Griner individually did meet the criteria for a Scholar All-American over that 3.4 GPA, and actually hers was over a 3.5. So congrats to Avery on her accolade there. Additionally, the men on the men's side, David Eldridge and Ethan Nelson are individual Scholar All-Americans. Haven't had over a 3.4 GPA, and I actually believe Ethan Nelson was a 3.8, and David was a 4.0. So those guys helped to make up the team award for the men. Also included in that is Raul Martinez, Thomas Little, Blaine Johnston, Daniel Garza, and Kendall England. So those guys make up the all academic All-America Team Award for the men. For those guys, that puts them ranked 16th in the country as a program as it pertains to academics. So 16th out of the entire country with a 3.502 GPA average. That's excellent. I'm excited about it, but at the same time, as anything else goes, we want to be better. So the goal is to grow and to move up that list, and get to the point to where hopefully we're in the top 5 year in and year out, from on the men's side and the women's side as it pertains to our academics. That will happen as all of you come in and take your academics seriously, incoming freshmen, returners, and focus first on academics, with everything else taking a close second. But we want to move up those polls, and be at the top when it comes to receiving awards for academics. But also I want to recognize some individuals who have recently made some plans or been accepted to different programs. I know we've got some of this information out on our social media pages in recent weeks, but I want to acknowledge them again. I think it's super awesome, super cool that so many different people are making big moves, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge them again. Amelia Pazinski, who's part of our cross country program, all these individuals are. She has been accepted to the Air Force Academy, and will be making her way to Colorado in the coming months. David Eldridge has been accepted to the Naval Academy, be headed to Annapolis, Maryland. Daniel Garza has been accepted to the Merchant Marine Academy, the Air Force Academy, and the Coast Guard Academy. So got some options. Always great to have options. And he has 3 of them, and should be making a decision on that very soon. Avery Griner has more or less, I think, set on. She's been accepted to Baylor University, and I think she will be. I think she has planned to return to her state of Texas, her home state of Texas, and attend Baylor University in Waco for Army ROTC. And then Kendall England has recently signed to run cross country and further his academic career at the University of Montevallo. We do have additional athletes still looking at future moves, and congrats to all these student athletes, cadets, on their accolades and also their next moves or their next endeavors. So one of the things I want to move to and kind of talk with you about is sort of where we are from a recruiting standpoint, and where we stand as a program as far as our team goes. This past season, my first year here, I started at the end of July, for those that didn't know, and 2 days later, athletes moved in. We started practice a day or two after that, and then the season was over before you knew it. So everything has moved very, very quickly, and here we are at almost mid-April, and oddly enough, working from home mostly, and the students not even on campus. So it's very quiet around here today, and I'm in the office for the first time this week, and I'm trying to be in the office once or twice a week just to sort of fine-tune some things that maybe I can't get done as well at home. But in the fall last year, we had 17 athletes that ran for our program, 12 men and 5 women. Those numbers have already grown, will grow for the future. Of those 17, only 5 will be returning. Everybody else is moving on to other places and things. So we have 3 men returning and 2 women. And then we currently sit at 5 women and 5 men incoming for sure, as far as commits and signees go for the fall. That gets us to 15. There's 4 to 5 that we have waiting to decide, or that should be deciding actually in the coming weeks. And a couple of those I should actually know pretty soon. But most all of those have strong leans to MMI. So I think that, I feel like with that, and then by the time fall move-in rolls around, I do believe that we'll be more around that 25 roster number. The breakdown of that, I believe, based on my previous encounters and sort of what I've been dealing with as far as who I've talked to and who has offers on the table with different things. I think we're going to end up around 25 athletes total, and I think it'll be most likely 10 to 12 women and 12 to 15 men. Additionally, the junior class is looking really solid as well. That was a big thing with my late start in July. I knew that the 2021 class was actually probably going to be, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, easier in connecting with those athletes that haven't already started to make huge leans other places. So we're going to have a strong 2020 class, and hopefully an even stronger 2021 class, and that'll set the pace for the future of this program. I think that I'm very excited about where we are. And I'm even more excited about where we're going. So with that being said, the timeline, our move-in date, and things like that, I kind of want to go over a little bit as far as where we are, what the plan currently is. One of the quotes that sort of popped up here lately on some of my stuff, one of my favorite quotes that I like, and I think that it holds very much true right now, is by Benjamin Franklin, and he says, "By failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail." By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So we're going to prepare. We're going to be prepared as best we can. So, with that, I know we're in uncertain times, but we still have to control what we can control and forget the rest. So we're going to prepare like normal, and right now, hopefully everything will be as normal. That is the plan. So we would be looking to move in the last couple of days of July as far as it pertains to our cross-country athletes, July 30th, 31st. And we can, right now, as far as national office, NJCAA allows us to start practice August 1st. So that would put us starting practice on that Saturday, August 1st, or at least by August 3rd on that Monday. It would depend. That would depend on. At this point, it would just depend on if we had all of our paperwork and everything in line, physicals and things like that were out of the way by everybody. Then we could get started at that normal August 1st start date. That puts us being here for about 10 to 12 days before anyone else moves in, for the most part. Cross country being the first ones on campus. And then of course we have ITC week, which is our intensive training cycle week that all of our freshmen are a part of. And then everyone else moves in prior to the start of school. And the first day of school right now would be August 17th. Last year, our first meet fell on the weekend of what this year would be September the 4th and 5th. Cresting falls on the 4th this year, so our cresting ceremony for the freshman cadets that would be transitioning from recruits officially into to an MMI cadet here on campus, that will take place September 4th. So the likely start date for our first day of competition will be September the 11th or 12th, so that weekend. Once we start, we're going pretty continuous until mid-November, when everything culminates at the national championships, which is in Fort Dodge, Iowa this year. So it'll be here before you know it, and it'll be over with before you know it. So it's important to embrace our time to train on our own and get things done. And with that, I want to express to you that my intentions right now are going to be a little bit different than they normally would be. We, in normal circumstances, I would probably be getting summer training out to you around June 1st. But since really no one that are currently in high school, and then of course us as well, no one has had a track and field season. So with that being the case, everybody is more or less training on their own now anyway. Nobody would really, or they probably at this point are not going to have a AAU track and field season in the summer, nor a USATF season as well. So with basically no track season taking place for anyone, and training being a little bit more, having to be more creative with your training, and most of that taking place by yourself. I plan to try to get your training out to you for summer purposes by May 1st. Now, with that being the case, in the next few weeks, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will be talking to each of you individually about where you are with your training. I have a pretty solid feel of where we are, of course, with my returners, but I need to better learn where the incoming freshmen, especially where you are on your weekly mileage, and your kind of your training threshold, and how our bodies feel and all this kind of stuff. So I need to get an idea of where we are, and likely get a time trial. We'll probably get a time trial out of the way 1st of May, and then I will get that out to you in that first few days of May for sure. And we will keep up with each other. We'll keep constant communication on how training is going, and it'll be geared to you as an individual. I want to try to connect with everybody that I can through Strava, or some other form of, I likely will do some things through Google Sheets, and we'll talk more individually about that as well. I am building the schedule. I've pretty much got our track and field, our cross-country schedule set, and that's going to be dependent still a little bit on some people's if anybody's changed any dates, but for the most part, I've emailed some coaches, and I kind of got a pretty good idea of when meets are taking place and what meets we'll be attending. I've got actually like 3 or 4 different options of schedules topped up at this point. So I'm just sort of depending on how the weeks fall and if anybody shifts anything. So I'm staying on top of that, and we'll continue to do so, and we'll get the schedule out as soon as it is written in stone, which will be, at least probably a couple more months. The current student athletes, if you didn't hear Colonel Passmore's talk yesterday online, anything you need to return, whether you still do have items to return to me, or books or anything like that, that they'll be getting out more information soon on when you can do that, when you can return to campus to return things, as well as pick up your personal items from the dorms or from the barracks. Mail, they did express that mail is being forwarded, and then anything that maybe is too big to send to your listed address on campus, that will be left in your rooms, and you'll be able to pick those same things up when you come to get all of your other belongings whenever that date is determined. Again, they haven't decided on when that will be, but they are working on better evaluating that, and as time goes by a little bit, they'll get an idea, and they'll let you know just as soon as they have a date set. One thing that the college has announced in the last couple of days that I think is very important: if you know of anybody else that is planning to come to MMI or is looking to come to MMI, to whether to run cross country or play baseball or whatever it may be, or if they're just coming to school here, and maybe they haven't taken the ACT or SAT, the ACT and SAT requirement will be waived for anybody who wants to come to MMI for leadership education programs. So any regular student that's just coming for purposes of an associate's degree, and move on from there, that will be waived. And the way they'll do that is your acceptance to the college will be based on strictly on a interview remotely with you from someone from admissions, and your GPA, your high school grades and GPA. So and so that ACT and SAT will be wiped out. That's huge news for incoming freshmen, and I'm assuming that a lot of colleges are probably, if they haven't already done that, a lot of them will do that very same thing as well. One last note that I can think of, that I just kind of want to express to you, is something that I've read in a book that I've been finishing up. I've been trying to do a little bit of reading every day, among other things. But one of the things that I've read, it's in a John C. Maxwell book that I'm finishing up, and it's the 17 Indisputable Laws of Teamwork. And in that, there's a quote that I think really encompasses everything that we have going on as a whole, as a world right now, as our world kind of deals with this crisis, and then of course as our country deals with it, individual states, counties. I think this thing breaks down. This is a really great way of looking at it, down to individual counties and towns and communities and colleges, and down to individual teams. But I think this is huge. If everyone doesn't pay the price to win, then everyone will pay the price by losing. Again, that's if everyone doesn't pay the price to win, then everyone will pay the price by losing. So, what that means to me is you've got to do your part. Just do your part. If you are, and I've heard Colonel Mullahan say this 100 times, and I've heard Colonel Passmore say it yesterday as well. They've all said it. You've got to do your part. You've got to wash your hands. You've got to stay. And Colonel Mullahan even, and I agree. It's more, to me, it is more that it's physical distancing more so than social distancing. But anyway, stay 6 feet apart from people. Do your part in this thing. and let's get through it together. Because it's the same way when it comes to training. This summer training, that's 3 months. You already got an additional month now where you've not been with a team. So essentially you're looking at 4 months at least of training on your own, and preparing for a fall cross-country season. It is super important that you continue to do those things. You run, you discipline yourself, you're getting your ab core work in, you're getting your body weight workouts in, maybe it's dumbbell work, maybe it's air squats. It could be absolutely, there's so many different things that you can do to prepare. So from a training standpoint, from a getting over this pandemic faster, sooner rather than later, we've got to pay the price to win so that we're not losing. We want to be here in the fall. We want to be here rock and rolling, ready to go. Come August, I'm ready to get back to normal. I know that my wife is ready to get back to normal and back to her students on time in the fall. So let's all do our part. Let's work together. If anything changes, if any updates, I will definitely keep everybody informed. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to me. One of the things that was mentioned yesterday in our president's talk and the commandant's speech as well was sort of touched on the mental health of people in this situation. Please, if you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. Everybody's dealing with this thing. Some people don't deal well with isolation. I'm a very extroverted person myself, so I like being around people as much as possible. So I get that, but I don't necessarily get down in the dumps very easily either. So, but some people do, and if you need to talk to someone, reach out to someone that you trust, that you can talk with, and let's get through this thing together. That's what it's going to take. We got to continue to look out for each other, and be ready when the time comes, because again, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And we're going to be prepared and ready to go, and be ready to tackle any obstacles that come our way in the future. Everybody have a great day, good rest of the week, and a good weekend. And I'll see you soon.